Alrighty, I do have the recording going, so with that I'm going to hand this over to Annette and take it away.
Hello, everybody. Couple things to review that Colleen wanted to review. One is the Concur Fusion. I did not attend Fusion this year, but I do have some notes from Pepper and Ginger. And then we'll look at the difference between the standard and the professional build. We've had a lot of questions come up right now, and I know Danielle and I are working on a site that is having actually a lot of problems because they're on the standard build. So just to make sure that everybody understands the difference between those two products. And the other item would be any of the Concur releases or the new enhancements that have been set up the last couple months. Those are sent out to everybody per Patty Basie, who's also in the tech development team. She sends those up. You should be receiving those updates every month. Again, this is more of a discussion rather than a training session. So please, if you have any questions, right now is a great time to get those questions answered. I do have Concur pulled up live, so if we want to look at something, we can do that. So I think for start, we're just going to look at the Concur Fusion. I know I had a question regarding the Hotel Solutions app, and I'm thinking, Colleen, did you go to Concur Fusion?
I did not, but I think, Sandra, you attended, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so maybe Annette Sandra can add any things she saw from her perspective as you're talking, if you're okay with that, Sandra.
Sure, absolutely.
First, we had a question regarding the Hotel Solutions Concur new application. I've contacted this company and I have not received any response from them at all to get more information. I am not positive why we would give this to our clients or sell this to our clients. What this Hotel Solution does is if I make a reservation at the Westin and the Westin hotel rates go down, I have an app on my phone that they will actually give me the lower rate if it goes down. That's not so bad. I understand that. Another part of that Hotel Solutions is it tracks commissions. Again, not sure why we'd ever give that solution to our clients for commission tracking. It also helps in hotel situations that are sold out, finding other hotels in the area, things like that. And Sandra, did you get any other take on that Hotel Solutions app?
No, I did not on the Hotel Solution app.
Okay.
And that it seems like the rate going down would be a real popular thing.
Correct. That's the only benefit I can see out of that Hotel Solutions app. Or even if I wanted to stay at a Westin and it's $500 a night, and there's a good option that's maybe not preferred for me in the area, that's again another part of this application of the Hotel Solution. But I'm frustrated because I contacted that hotel or that company at least 2 weeks ago, and they have yet to respond back to me. So I may just try to reach out to them again to find out exactly why we would sell this to our customers.
And is that a third party or is that a Concur product?
No,
is it a Concur app?
Yes, it's a third party. It's like TripIt. It goes out to this company, and you would download the application from there.
Okay.
And this application you cannot sign up for that application, let's say specifically for the hotel rates only, but not the commission?
That's what I wanted to find out from them. And again, I was kind of hoping I would have some answers for the call, but again, I don't at this time. So that will be one thing that we table. I'll get back to everybody regarding.
And that the other question on that is if they booked it through an agent and we've uploaded it into Concur, would that still apply to that as well?
Yes. Yes, it does. From what I've read, it does. If I booked it on Priceline.com or directly with the hotel, again, it can be uploaded into this, and it'll keep searching for the lower rate.
Wow. So it goes along with your open booking concept.
It does go along with it, right.
I would think that'd be very popular. If we could find out more about that, that would be really helpful.
Okay. I will continue to do that then. I'll be a little bit pushier then with this company. Hey, I actually forgot about them until this morning. Yes, Don?
Oh, hi. I'd be curious to know how that works with customers that have preferred negotiated rates as well, and they negotiate amenities in with those certain rates. How does that work if a lower rate would become available? Are the same amenities still? Do they still apply? And so if you can ask them that question as well.
Yep, actually I'm going to write that down right now. Because of course the last thing we want them to do is take out the vendor information and the preferred rates and drop it down to a lower fare. Okay.
And I'm assuming that they're comparing it against the same room type when they do that. But yeah, just ask them how it integrates with preferred hotel programs and negotiated rates.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions regarding Hotel Solutions application?
So Annette, is it something that they would have to tell us they physically, that we'd have to turn on for them, so it's on off by customer?
It looks like it's up to the traveler, kind of like TripIt, from what I read. It can be turned on per traveler.
So then I guess the other question regarding reporting, we would only have what we've originally booked. I'm assuming it doesn't send us back the lower confirmed rate for our reporting purposes. Is that something you can ask?
I will ask them that. That was actually on my list because that's what I was assuming too. Again, that's kind of, or if they've canceled, we booked them at the vendor hotel or the preferred hotel. They found a different hotel for a lower rate and changed it. Then our reports are not going to be accurate.
And it not just maybe up into our reporting, but is there some kind of reporting on that app that indicates how many times they've been able to get a lower rate than what they booked? I would assume the corporate customer would want to know that.
And how successful it is. Okay, I'll write that down too. Yeah, it's an interesting app, but and it's too bad the website shows nothing. It shows the 4 items that they cover, and if you want any more information, you have to contact the company, and that's where I did.
Is there a cost with this, Annette?
What's really ironic, Marcia, is it says no upfront fees, but will pay off in the long run, is what their quote is. So I'm not positive what that means.
Thank you.
If it's found to a lower fare, they charge you $5, or maybe that's where it's charged at.
Yeah, we'd like to know that.
Rather than upfront fee. So, yes, as soon as I get that complaint, I'll send it to you, and then you can distribute it on to everyone else.
Great, thank you.
Okay. A couple more items from Fusion. Concur is now in 60 different countries that you can implement. One of the other interesting enhancements, and this is on the enhancements also, is the CIBT. And I know that Advantage used to work with CIBT. I don't know if anyone else has worked with them. They're a visa and passport service. So what happens now is CIBT is now within Concur in the setup program. So if I was going to Australia, I need a visa and a passport. CIBT will send a link to me saying that what to do for me to obtain that visa to travel to Australia, and I can work directly with them. To set up CIBT within a configuration, though, a customer must have an account with them. So if Altor has an account with CIBT, that's not what they want. They want it per customer. So just keep that in mind. I think that's a great enhancement, something that we should sell, especially to companies that have a lot of international. Once they need the information, so if I wanted to obtain a visa with CIBT, I can do that right through their link, and then I would get 25% off the visa service from them, and that's the negotiated rate that they have set up through Concur.
So Annette, are you saying for a standard the customer has to have an account set up, but on the professional they can use the Altor link?
No. all accounts, the customer must create an account.
Ah.
And I don't even know, Colleen, if this is set up for standard. I'd have to check on it. But that is such a new enhancement. It just came out, like last month, I think. So yes, the customer must have an account. It's kind of like the SWABIZ thing. We have to have that per customer rather than per agency.
So I'm sorry, did you say that it would pop up if a visa or passport is applicable, or does the person have to know to click on it to search it out themselves?
Actually, what happens, Colleen, is they receive, if I book my reservation to Australia, once I finish my reservation, I will receive an email from CIBT stating all the parameters on me getting a visa for Australia. And then I work directly with CIBT. I don't have to work through the agency. And I don't know how much we're doing that through the agency anyway, but then that leaves it up to the customer to obtain the proper documentation.
So again, this is a feature that an account would turn on, and it would be for all or nothing, for all travelers or no travelers?
Exactly. It has to be all or nothing because we set it up in the configuration. So it is one of those, it's either on or off. And again, of course, with the proper account set up with CIBT. A couple other things from Fusion is new reporting. They've added some reports. Again, this was an enhancement for May. Mobile activity, we can now run a report to see who is using the mobile app. We can also check to see who is signed up for mobile registration. And kind of a nice report that's probably long coming is the guest travel bookings. We can now run a report to see how many guest bookings have been booked within a month, within a quarter, within a year. I do think customers have been asking for that guest traveler report, so that's now available with. Oh no,
that's awful. All right, Annette, is it possible now that you're logged into Concur to show us where the reporting would be to see about the mobile usage?
Yeah, not in a live site. It would be helpful to go in a live site.
Is there a way to mute people on this webcam? Is everyone there?
I'm here.
I tried to mute everyone, but I think that mutes Annette as well.
Do you hear me, Colleen?
I can hear you. I apologize, everyone.
I don't know why people do that yet.
Annette, can you keep talking? I'm going to try to mute all and see if you still come through, even though it's your center.
Okay.
No, it didn't work. It muted you as well.
So here's a couple new reports. So if I'm going to look at mobile activity, and again, I'm in a live site. So if I wanted to go back a month, maybe just look at May. So these are kind of nice reports, especially for the travel manager. Oh, that's so annoying. So I'm not sure if everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So as of right now, if you could see my screen right now, this is the mobile activity. And it doesn't look like anybody's done much except go into their mobile app. You can see some have stopped for air, some have stopped. Only one or two people have actually booked their air. So this report will say how much activity is on mobile. Now, if the travel manager wants to know how many registrations have been on mobile, you can go into that also. So if I wanted to look by second quarter, I can look at this and see how many people have signed up for the mobile app. So this isn't going to tell me that they've used it, it's just going to tell me that they've signed up.
Oh my goodness.
Should we all hang up and call back?
Okay, can I interrupt here? Whoever just put us on hold, you cannot put your phone on hold. It gives everyone the hold music. If you need to, please sign off the webcast. Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Annette.
All right, perfect. All right, so mobile activities and mobile registrations are the two new ones. And then if we look down, we should be able to find the guest booking. Now, this person's probably not signed up for the guest booking, but I won't go into that. But it's the same type of thing. We can run the guest booking by quarter, just search for it, and that will show up. And again, this will be over here on the left-hand side. The one thing to keep in mind, if you have travel arrangers or travel managers who can't see all of the reporting, let tech development know, because we need to update it. It's the reporting administration, and we actually have to go in there and update the reporting. So this person just doesn't have all the reports updated. Actually, it's my William Never, but it's not all updated.
But Annette, the account manager should have access to this, right? So they could pull it on behalf of their customer?
I don't know.
Okay.
It would probably depend on the site and what permissions are given out. A lot of times we give out the reporting user permission, but we don't necessarily give out the report admin permission. And the report admin is what gives permission to access the report, and the report user just means you want to use those reports.
Okay, I guess the question on a standard setup, what should we be giving the account manager access to? Because if the customer is going to have access to it, we want the account manager to have access to it.
Actually, in a standard build, we cannot give any permissions. Permissions have to come from expense or from Concur.
Okay.
So if we see something that's not here for standard, it will probably have to open up a ticket through Concur to have that updated.
Okay.
Permissions are really tough things with standard right now.
I think this might be a good thing to highlight on the next agenda, Steve. Just that I think people would be interested to know how many people are signed up for mobile.
Okay.
Or how many people are using it. So maybe we can add that as an agenda item.
All right.
One of the new enhancements along on in here, and I will see if it's on here. Travel arrangers can now send the mobile link over to another person, and actually that might be coming up in the June release. So if I wanted to sign somebody up, I can just send them the mobile application. Let's go in here. And it might come to a time that you can send it to all of your travelers again, just kind of refresh. But I do believe that mobile app link is going to be in the June release. So that's something we can look forward to. But yeah, a lot of fun reporting in Concur, I think.
I think at some point, Annette, one of our upcoming sessions is just to walk through the reporting in Concur with all of us so we can pull some of these ourselves.
Absolutely, we can do that. And then kind of just highlight, and I think we did that before, but there's been so many updates to reports that I think it's another good idea to just review it. And just to make sure that everybody has exactly the permissions they should have.
Okay.
One other thing, I'm just going to pop this in. This is also on the new release, but it was also talked about in Fusion. I'm going to do, I needed a place that's not so, Minneapolis to, let's try Omaha. I need something that doesn't have so many direct flights. Okay, so if I wanted to see what my direct flights were, I can now click this little arrow, and now my travelers can see a 24-hour range of what my nonstop was. So I looked at 9 a.m., 2 hours before, 2 hours after, so that's 11 a.m. So maybe only one of these would come up, or a couple of these nonstops would come up. Now, the travelers have the choice of clicking this little down arrow, and they can see the nonstop flights for the entire day for the 24-hour range. And this is an automatic on, so this will be on for every site that we have, and we cannot turn this on. Or I think we can turn this off if somebody wanted it. But I have been adding this to my training sessions to show this graph.
So Annette, is that, you said nonstop and direct, or just nonstop? Because the direct may have a stop, right?
Correct. A direct means one stop, no change of plane. And it looks like, you know what, Colleen? I have to check, but I think these are just nonstops.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen any of them that have had one stop. So this is another brand new enhancement with Concur.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like that enhancement. This one, I think we've reviewed before, the Traveler, and I don't know if anybody's seen it. I've kind of put this in my new training sessions to ignore. You can now type what you want, Minneapolis to Denver, June 22. I can just type the whole line, National Car, Hotel, Hampton, and I can search the whole thing. Instead of going through all of this search, I can now just type it long form right here. This does not work very well. There's many, many bugs to it. What Concur's setting up is, and I don't remember when this was supposed to be released, but in their Concur mobile app, the travelers will now be able to talk into it rather than typing. So the travelers will be able to say, book me Minneapolis to Denver, June 22 through June 24 with the National Car, Hotel Hampton, in downtown Denver. That's why this line is here. That is the program that they're setting up. Right now, it doesn't work great on the website. So that's kind of some in-house upcoming things that are going to be happening.
Annette, did you say that's automatically on, or that you can turn that off?
Unfortunately, we cannot turn that off, or I would go on to every single site and turn it off. But it's an automatic on.
So these are appearing now on all of our sites?
Yep, and they have been the last couple months, but I think I've been reviewing them, but I don't think many people know why it's sitting there or why it's not working.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions with Fusion? Sandra, do you have anything to add that you saw down at Fusion?
I'm sorry, I just unmuted myself. I think the way how we split up Fusion is, obviously you guys attended a lot of the functional sessions where we attended more the sales perspective sessions. So one of the things what I thought was fairly good was the various panels on open booking. And I believe we had either a separate webinar coming up about open booking, or Colleen, is this the place now to provide some feedback on open booking?
Yes, Sandra, we had a call earlier this week, and we recorded it, so we will be sending that out.
Okay.
We do not have the recording yet.
Okay, no problem. My 2 cents in regards to open booking, I think where a lot of people, a lot of customers are really confused is that they think that they worked so hard to finally get a corporate managed travel program in place where they may have an agency adoption by 80–90%. And it's not giving necessarily travelers, carte blanche to go out and book outside of the travel agency or outside the TMC, but it's really a supplement for data so that you can get access, that travel managers can get access to the 10 or 20% of data they're currently not getting, their leakage, so to speak, and incorporate it into their program. And it's definitely something what we need to be prepared to talk about with our customers.
And I agree, Sandra. I think that's kind of a hot topic right now. And just before I got on this call, we found out that Concur is actually bringing out a program called Open Agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no details on that yet. Karen just sent that out to all of us, so that's up and coming because there was so many questions regarding that open booking and booking outside of the agency.
Correct.
So the concept of open booking, I understand they use TripIt to put everything towards. And Annette, I know you showed us where we can see who's all signed up for mobile. Is there an area to see where who's signed up for TripIt?
You know what, there's not yet. That might be forthcoming, but currently there's not.
Okay.
And I know that Concur owns TripIt, but my guess is because it's still a third party, that there's probably no reporting on that yet.
Okay.
Colleen, there's a number of ways in regards to how Concur currently collects bookings done outside. So travelers either, one option is obviously TripIt. The other option is any traveler who is on Concur can just forward their itinerary that they booked outside of Concur via plans@concur.com.
Right.
In addition, there are right now, I believe, 6 or 7 hotel properties already contracted with Concur, which provides data back to Concur. So the method of collecting that data on the open, so to speak, is threefold, fourfold.
Right. And Barry did say on our call earlier this week that it's one of those things that we do have to join in on this and support this and learn how we're going to work with this. So it's definitely, we all need to really stay on top of it and read about it and understand it. And if we don't understand some of the things that are coming out, please let us know. Because if you're not understanding it, others probably are not.
Correct.
I agree.
Was there any mention of confusion as to when they're going to roll out Concur Travel, whether it's probably professional in Japanese language? I know that expense is already in Japanese, but I've been waiting so long for them to know to find out when the Japanese is coming for travel.
I've not heard that, Marsh. I have not heard that, but I can let you guys know. I can open that with a TMC question.
I think that would be great, Annette, because I believe we have a couple of accounts that have some Japanese interaction.
Okay. I will do that today. I'll open up a question, and I will probably know pretty quickly. TMC is pretty good over at Concur.
That was a great overview, Sandra and Annette. It's, I know we all can't go there, so it's great to have some high-level discussion about it.
Now, looking at some of the enhancements from June, I did save this to my computer, so let me see if I can, oh, there it is. I think we kind of looked at quite about this. The user interface change, the new itinerary display. Now, I wish I would have gone through it. This is a very interactive new invoice that is sent over to our clients, and I do not have any example of that at all. I can send that out, but now instead of having a pop-up that says Park and Fly, do you want to book ground transportation, there's actually just a link on their itinerary that says, do you want to book parking at the airport? They've cleaned up the itinerary. There's more to come. Actually, this week is when Concur was releasing it to professional. Standard had it last week. So if I can give you an example, I will certainly send that out also, just so everybody can look at it. But I think everybody's going to be very happy with that new look. The trip library, upcoming trip list will also have action columns in it. So some of this is changing a little bit. Let me see if I've got anything saved in here. So now, it used to be that I would click on that link and I would get my action items immediately. Now when I click on here, it brings me straight into my itinerary, and this is, again, the interactive part. I can print, email, view my trip, and create a template. I actually canceled this leg, so there's nothing in here anymore, but the trip overviews are exactly the same. It's just in a different place. And again, when I do my monthly sessions next week, I will be reviewing the new itineraries with everybody on my call. Details, it's a little bit more interactive. Again, you can still change your seat, but it's just kind of a cleaner more interactive, I guess, itinerary.
Where do you put it where you can add it to your calendar? It used to be at the bottom.
That actually comes from Altor, doesn't it, Colleen?
No,
I believe
it's
it
on the
comes from
Concur site.
Concur itinerary.
I couldn't find it the other day when I was doing a demo. And I don't know if they took it out.
I thought that always came with the Concur emailed itinerary, but I didn't know there was a place in the system to be able to do that.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I guess I always thought it came from the confirmation too. And all right. And I
Where
know
did it used to be, Carlene? Where did it used to be?
It used to be after you ticketed it, you could view the itinerary and you scroll to the bottom and you could add to your calendar. And then the other day, since they've changed this, I couldn't find it.
That is a great question.
And Annette, I was on a training session yesterday that Ginger was doing for SHRM, and that question was asked, and she showed them how they get the emailed itinerary, and each flight segment and hotel is an attachment in that email. So she didn't show them anything on the itinerary, so I'm wondering if that's not available anymore.
Or if it's not available until they receive the itinerary.
Right.
And I have my email closed.
If you go to your trip library, Annette, is that an option if it's in the trip library?
Let's look. Yeah, like I said, this came out June 5th. Actually, today's the day they expected to have everything rolled out for this new itinerary. So, nope. Let's see. You know what the thing is, Colleen, is this trip is canceled.
Oh,
and it's not canceled through Concur, it's canceled through WorldSpan. So that's the reason why I'm not getting everything I should be able to get. But my actions, so what they're saying is my action will be over here now. It used to be, again, I would just highlight over this and I would get all my trip actions, and now that has changed. I can find that out. But I don't know why, for some reason, I just think it was on the email copy or the confirmation copy that was emailed.
Interesting.
And remember that Outlook has to be a certain version for Concur. If you have an outdated version of Outlook, it will not download to your calendar. I believe 7 and above, or whatever the most current is, works. Anything prior to that, and it's not very old, anything prior to that will not work in Concur. 3, for some reason. Outlook 3 I don't think works.
I didn't know that.
Right. So I will put that down on my homework to do.
So Annette, when we're originally talking to a customer about Concur, do we give them minimum requirements in order for Concur to work optimally?
It should be done. We have updates all the time.
Okay.
But that would be very good, especially I know that in Minnesota we have an account still on Lotus, and they're, accounts like that are on different items, not Outlook, have a lot of problems with Concur, especially with the calendars. They should, Safari, anybody on Apple has a problem with Concur also.
Okay. So Dawn, if we don't already, Dawn, if we don't already on our implementation schedule, can we make sure that we have share Concur minimum requirements as one of the action items?
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't know about Safari until we actually got in there and realized that, and I think it's good now in Safari, but there are certain versions. So just because your customer has all the bells and whistles doesn't mean that Concur's up to date on it, because I know that they were having some issues also with some updated internet versions. So that's a great idea, Colleen, that gets added to the guide. Going back to this, And again, that new interface look is for standard from May 27th, and professional actually June 3rd is when they were implementing this week. No arranger booking until user accepts corporate privacy agreement. This is going to be a big question. This has not come to light. I don't know if anybody has heard this, that arrangers have not been able to book until they've signed this corporate privacy agreement. And this is done, it's not required up to Concur, but it's based on the customer. If the customer has turned this option on, then the travel arrangers will have to go in and sign up or just agree to it. There was a loophole. It hasn't been working apparently in like a year or 2 years, and now this has been fixed with Concur.
And then does that apply if we are setting up the arrangers for them?
In order for, you mean just set them up, like make their login?
Yeah.
No, we'll still be able to set them up, but before they can go to book someone else, this privacy agreement will pop up for them to accept.
So if we provide a list of admins and who they support, we're going to get those pop-ups, right?
Correct. But we don't go ahead and book anybody. So the travel arranger will still receive that. It's when they go to book, not when they just sign up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But this is only if a company asks for it.
Correct.
Okay.
So we could see this on standard builds. You know, we might get that question then, because I cannot tell you any of my accounts that are set up on this corporate privacy agreement.
And you may have said this, does it pop up each time, or is it a one-time?
One-time thing.
Oh, okay.
One time. Yep. Avis preferred enrollment, this is very interesting. Apparently more car rental companies are going to be coming on board with Concur, something that's probably been asked for years. I know when I was an agent. It will have a live profile. So if they have a wizard number and their credit card expires, remember they used to have to update their profile with us and then call Avis. Now they can just do it once, and it updates with an Avis and it updates with us. And it's a link that's on their profile to update. And they can also create a wizard right on their profile now, too.
Wow.
I wonder if that's because Avis is one of the suppliers that have jumped on board with this open booking, so they have direct links. So they must link their the personal profiles, too.
So it's nice for the traveler. You know, it's nice for us, too, that we're not, you know, always telling our traveler to go back, or it's being rejected for the wizard. So I think that's a nice feature. And feature cannot be turned off. So if you have any questions, this is an automatic on. CIBT Visa, we've already talked about that. Home delivery collection for car rentals. This came up for Apollo or Galileo. If you have anybody on Apollo, you can have the car delivered right to the home. Oh my God, what is that? And then we go into the least logical fare. This is just on professional, but now we can change how the least logical fare looks for the lowest fare. We can keep it within the search window. If your customer has a 2 hours before, 2 hours after, we can actually set it to a default where the client can override that. So if your client decides to look at 12 hours, we can set it up in the configuration that it's whatever that they choose that they're looking for the least logical. Again, it's one of those things, not sure your customer is going to jump on board with that, because there's a reason why they put those restrictions in place to control and manage their fare costs. So this is something, and this doesn't change. Whatever it is today is what it is tomorrow, unless we want to go in and change that. And I can send out more information regarding this, but this is the information that Patty had sent out.
So Annette, I guess I'm confused on that because we typically set what the standard is for the lowest logical, right? Is this just saying that the default?
It is the default, so whatever's set up for the customer is the default. But if you want your traveler to be able to look at many other airlines or look for the 24-hour rule with the nonstop, we can customize that lowest logical fare now, so that can override that. Or it can just stay with the default as it is today.
And that's a turn on, turn off feature?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. I don't go into so much of this Air France ABT cards. We never used that, so we just put it on there because that's what they reviewed. Mixed carrier split ticketing, again, this is more of an operational standpoint about the split ticketing. Admin tool for sending mobile instructions. This is the upcoming, that this will be a feature to be available to use with these permissions. So we can send this out to our travelers. TMC reporting, we kind of looked at some of the other configuration reports. Again, this is operational. This came from Patty to us, so I just wanted to review some of these things. Locate and alert updates, none. Tripit updates, none. And no new updates for mobile were covered.
It's always more helpful when you talk through these enhancements versus reading the email. It's hard to get all that out of reading the email, so thank you.
Well, yeah, because some of those operational things, you're like, should I know that? No. All right. In a matter of time, just because the standard versus pro has been such a hot topic lately, I am going to jump into the new matrix. And Colleen, did you get the new matrix from me?
I did, and I will post this into Sugar today.
All right. This new matrix is from April 23rd. Every time every month that there's a release call from Concur, there's more items added for standard also. So kind of keep in mind that's always changing. But I just wanted to say that, of course, when standard comes to us, usually it's sold by Concur. Does Concur tell them all the restrictions? Heck no, they don't. So hopefully, and I'm not positive on this because I'm not a salesperson, but hopefully the salespeople or the account managers can guide them into figuring out what product is best for them. And if we need to move them over to the professional, if they're better suited, that we're doing that right away. It's harder to do it once the account's implemented. And of course, if you have a site on standard, it's easy to go up to professional, but you can never go from professional to standard. I know I've been asked on a couple questions the last 2 days on an account that I went to the account manager today and had a discussion about having that account maybe look at professional, and already one step ahead of us, they're doing that. One is basically because of the Ghost credit card. With a standard build, you can only have one Ghost credit card. For the whole company, it's either all or nothing. So if you have a company that maybe for executives are put on a different Ghost credit card, or you have VAPs that want to use their own credit card, they want to get those miles, you cannot do that on a standard build. So standard builds, Ghost credit cards are all or nothing, and only one of them.
Annette, can you have a standard expense combined with a professional travel?
I didn't know there was a standard expense, so I don't know the answer.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Can you have standard? Because standard comes with the expense, right? Can you have expense combined with the professional, or do you have to get the standard expense and travel all together?
Nope, you can get the standard expense with the professional.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Colleen, we're actually working with Douglas Scientific on that right now. That's kind of hot off the press.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's good to know. You know, the other thing that comes up with the standard builds is the fact that we have very little support that we can offer them. The user admin, for us setting up a new user, for us deleting a new user, is now changing. We now have access to the users, but we cannot set permissions. There's only 3 permissions that an admin can have with a standard build. One is reports, one is travel admin, and I don't even know what is existing in there. And then the other one is guest permission, I believe, and actually user permission. Admin, report user and guest booking, and open booking, they just added the open booking to standard now, is the only permissions that can be set up for an administrator within standard.
And I think there's been a lot of discussion about that, and that we have customers that will give us an admin login, but it's really touchy when they say we want you to set our users up. We don't like that from a risk security standpoint because they're basically giving us access into their expense site, and we don't want that responsibility. So even though a customer is willing to give us a login, an admin login to their site, we need to have those discussions with the customers about that and how we prefer that they set up their own users. They need to set up their own users.
Absolutely. We should, and my thought is like yours, we should never be setting them up because it should be coming from the expense side. Expense trumps. Travel is only a piece of the expense or in addition to the expense. But when you're looking at expense for any account, whether they're on professional or standard, everything starts with expense. And that's been a struggle for us because some of our agents are used to just saying, oh, I'll just sign you up into the travel, into your site, but we are no longer able to do that, especially in standard. Looking at your language, Japanese is definitely not on here. These are just the languages now. Is there anything on here, Colleen? I know we talked about some of the limitations with the standard build that you have questions on.
Well, I guess I'm going to open it up to what other people have experienced as a learning from the standard builds, because I haven't been so involved in the standard builds, but I know the other account managers have. Is there anything that's been a learning experience for you?
I've put everyone asleep.
Well, I think Annette this is Danielle. I think Annette kind of touched on it today, but we're just learning that, you know, we are charging hotel and car only fees for an account. And with the standard build, unless it's set up correctly in their profile with a credit card, and correct me if I'm wrong, Annette, but and if they have a ghost card to add to that, it's defaulting to go to their personal card to charge those service fees rather than the ghost card. So
that's not good.
Yeah. Correct. Because with the ghost card, so if a customer has a ghost card set up, again, they can only have one ghost card set up for configuration, and it's only good for air and rail, and it's an automatic all or nothing, so it cannot be used. It cannot be used for hotel. So what's happening with that account is because it has to bring the hotel credit card over. Now it's charging that $2.50 on the personal credit card, and there's no way to change that. So the
So what are you doing, Danielle? What are you doing in that situation?
we're trying to see if there's something that can happen either in the finishing template or something with Karen on the automation side.
And again, we talked about the user permission. Custom profile fields, custom trip fields. This isn't so bad. 12 and 9, usually we don't go above that anyway. That would be if in the profile if they wanted to ask for cost center or department number, whatever that can be. They can have up to 9. We really don't see too much more than that.
One thing I learned about that, though, Annette, it has something to do with having an HR feed or not having an HR feed with custom fields.
Oh, yep, you're right. That would be a huge problem with HR feeds.
So they can't have an HR field standard with custom fields, or they can?
Actually, it says on here, I don't believe they can have an HR feed with the standard build. I think I just read that. I'll have to look at it again, but I do not believe you can have an HR feed with standard.
Okay.
And again, everything's changing on a monthly basis. Oh. And of course, one of the biggest complaints we have about standard is the fact that if you have somebody who, if you have an account that's needs travel approval sent to a manager, that manager needs to stop what they're doing. Even if they're on the road, they need to sign into the website, the Concur website, and approve it manually. They cannot do it on their mobile app.
Ooh.
Actually, right now, it's on BlackBerry they can, and hopefully in the future they can use iPhones or the smartphones, but just BlackBerry at this point.
So Annette, there's all these features they come out with. Does this list include, like it's an automatic turn on for Park and Fly or for GoGo Wireless? Is that listed on here as well?
Yep, it will actually say, on here it actually says Park and Fly Auto On.
Okay.
So yep, it goes through each and every single one of these. And I'm glad I was able to find the updated one. And again, hopefully Concur keeps updating this. But this is pretty new from April 23rd. Say like GoGo In-Flight Wireless, Auto On.
Okay.
So it does display that.
So I think it's really, really important when we're filling out the startup forms. You guys really need to understand if they're a standard build or a professional build or a direct customer, and if they're integrated into expense. That's really important when we're getting the setup with Concur. So if there's any question on that, get tech development involved before that gets routed so we order the right stuff.
And it happened. It's already happened that somebody asked for a regular build, professional build, and it actually was a standard build. And remember, you can't go from professional back down to standard. That was huge turmoil, and that account actually got delayed quite a bit because of that reason.
Hi, this is Sandra. Question, please.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the difference in cost to us between a standard and a professional build, or why would we even choose a standard build over a professional build? Because it seems like that the benefits of a professional build are just so much greater. Why would we, do the standard to begin with?
I only know part of that answer. I do know we can implement a lot faster with a standard build. A standard build, once the first phone call is done with Concur, that site will be live within 2 phone calls, which is usually 2 weeks. And of course, the professional build can take 4 to 6 weeks to burn out quickly. Cost, I never talk money. That would be Colleen's job.
And Sandra, what I know from the standard, that's typically sold as an integrated expense and travel, so they don't get a per transaction charge from Concur. They get an integrated cost, and us as an agency, we don't get charged the transaction fee either. With professional, when they order through us, we get charged a transaction fee, and there's a lot more flexibility with the professional than there is a standard. Does that make sense?
Can you go back to the third item you just said in regards to the charges?
Sure. As far as what we get charged for?
Right. I mean, the understanding I have, and that's where I may be wrong, is I was under the impression that if the customer buys Concur from us, no matter standard or professional, we get charged the transaction fee from Concur, which is something close to $4. Are you saying that we don't get charged on the standard version?
I don't believe so. Alan, are you on the phone? I will get back to you on that.
This is Eddie, and my understanding is anything that is bought from us puts a monetary obligation on us to pay back to Concur on a monthly basis.
Right. So,
Sandra, well, I'll confirm that, and I'll let everyone know. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, great. Because otherwise, really what we need to take a look at is why put the customer on a standard limited version if the only benefit is a quicker implementation? And I think that's the discussion what we also should have from a sales perspective with the customer when selling Concur. I mean, right now I tell them anyways that there is a minimum of a 4 to 6 week implementation timeline, depending also on the customer's schedule on when are they available for calls. So that's perhaps really something to take back.
Yeah, we'll find out for you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my experience on it is that, and I know that standard is available through us, but there is a whole division of folks at Concur that are trying to sell expense, and with that, the only thing they sell is standard. And and being a partner of theirs, we get offered the opportunity to be the fulfillment partner. They build it, they support it. I would love it if they would sell the professional version to the client, but they have a whole group basically selling to smaller accounts where they put the standard program in place.
All right, you guys, we're coming up on the hour, so I know this has been a full hour. It's been extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Annette. We'll continue to do this kind of stuff, so if you guys have questions, please forward them to me, and Annette and I have some homework to follow up on. So thank you for participating, and keep the questions and the dialogue coming. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.